So do you ever feel like it doesn't matter how much sleep you get, you still wake up exhausted? Fatigue isn't necessarily always about more rest. It can be a danger sign of something going on in your body that you need to figure out and get to the root cause of. My name is Melanie. I'm an integrative healing practitioner. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose or treat disease. Please talk to your doctor before making any changes at all. But let's dive into fatigue's root causes. I feel like people are just walking around exhausted these days, and when people come to me with their symptoms, fatigue is often on their list. And so we have to kind of figure out what's going on there. When you go, typically, when people go to their doctors, they're going to go right for either your adrenals or checking out your thyroid because those could be two really big culprits of fatigue. But I don't like to start there because there's so many other things that it could be, and we address that later when we give the body time to work that out itself. So we look at the first things that I'm going to look at is neurotransmitter imbalances. So this is like if your neurotransmitters are not balanced, it can lead to things like anxiety and depression. And those can make you really, really tired. I mean, think about anxiety for a minute. Like you're in fight or flight. Your body thinks it's being chased all day long. It's like being chased by a tiger or something where you're just constantly in the state of fight or flight. And that is just absolutely exhausting. And if you are doing that day in and day out, like, yeah, you're going to be tired. The other thing that we look at is mitochondrial function. So the mitochondria is the powerhouse of your cell, right? So that's where you make your energy. And so if you're not making ATP, then you're going to be tired. And the other thing that we look at right away is your nutrient deficiencies. I know that seems silly, but that's so profound because you need nutrients to make things. You need your nutrients to make your neurotransmitters. You need nutrients to make your ATP. And if you're looking at our food supply today, like it is depleted in a lot of things. So, but you don't know what you're depleted in until you run the labs to see. So we start with three foundational labs: organic acids test, full blood work, and genetics. And those three tests are going to tell us what your neurotransmitters are doing, what nutrients you're deficient in, and that will help you and then we can give the tools it needs to rebuild and rebalance those things. And then we move on to things like looking at your sex hormones. After we have addressed those things and given it time, a lot of times it will just balance itself out. But sometimes it doesn't. And if you're still dealing with fatigue, it very well could be, that your adrenals are shot or your circadian rhythms, for example, too, could be off. And that really makes you tired. So if you're like a night owl, right? And you're staying up till 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and you're gaming and you're on your screens and you're on your phone, you're really messing up your circadian rhythms. So that's something that we address if we need to. And I don't try to be drastic about it because that can be overwhelming for people. Like they're already overwhelmed with their chronic illnesses. I don't need to be like, you need to stop this all right now. We just do slow changes, like go to bed a little bit earlier, get up a little bit earlier, turn off the screens a certain amount of time before bed, manageable steps so that you can get to feeling better. Another thing that can make you really, really tired is if you are full of toxins. If your detox pathways are not functioning optimally, you're full of toxins, and that can make you really, really tired too. So once we address all those things and we do the hormones and everything, oftentimes the fatigue will resolve itself. But if it doesn't, this is another area that we focus on that I don't think a lot of people do. If you're in some kind of a crisis in your life, if you are in a toxic relationship, if you have post-traumatic stress, if you have past traumas you haven't worked through, if you're in a job you hate, like that can suck the life out of you and make you exhausted. It is difficult on your mental state. So we look at mindset work. We dig into those things. We look at ways to be grateful. There's a bunch of exercises we can do. We can do some meditation. And sometimes you just need to get out of those toxic relationships. You need to see a therapist and get through those past traumas. And those are all things that can really help to resolve the fatigue. So if you're struggling with fatigue and you're not finding answers, check with your practitioner and see if they can maybe order those labs for you, and then you can get to the bottom of it. If you don't have a practitioner and you would like to work with me, you can just go to my website at www.breakthroughintegrativehealing.com.